In this video, I'm going to share some of my favorite plants to keep color going strong through late summer at a time when a lot of gardens start to fade. These plants will carry that momentum into the fall and keep your garden looking alive all year long. My name is Amy, and over at Pretty Purple Door, I help home gardeners design landscapes that are uniquely you. So let's jump right into this list. First up is Aster. This variety is called October Skies. It gets 18 to 24 inches high by 24 to 36 inches wide, grows in zones 3 through 8 in full sun to partial shade. October Skies Aster forms a compact mound of very aromatic, beautiful smelling foliage. It bursts into bloom in late summer with a profusion of sky blue to more of like a light lavender daisy-like flowers with these little yellow heads in the center. They're adorable. These cheerful blooms continue well into fall. It brightens the garden when many other plants are fading, especially in this color in the fall. It's very hard to get. This is an absolute standout in late season borders, and it's a vital nectar source for butterflies and other pollinators. It's exceptionally low maintenance. The only thing that I do with this is that I do the Chelsea chop in May and just cut it back so it maintains that smaller, compact habit. Otherwise, it gets a little bit wild. Otherwise, it's exceptionally low maintenance. It thrives in poor, dry soils and requires very little care once it's established. Next up is another aster variety. It's called SnowFlurry. And I saw this a couple seasons back in a Philadelphia garden tour, and everybody on the garden tour was just blown away by this plant. It gets 4 to 6 inches high by 12 to 24 inches wide, grows in zones 3 through 9 in full sun to part sun. Aster SnowFlurry is a low-growing, spreading aster that creates a dense carpet of these teeny tiny white daisy-like blooms from late summer into fall. When we saw this in the garden, everybody was absolutely blown away. It was just covered in pollinators and was just so beautiful and made this beautiful ground cover. It's got this mat forming habit that makes it perfect for edging pathways, softening the front of borders, or it spills really gracefully over rocks and walls. Like I said, this is great for ground cover in between all your other plants to keep the weed pressure down. It's a tough little plant, thrives in dry, lean soils, and requires very little maintenance once it's established. It's especially valuable in the late season garden because it offers this abundant nectar source for pollinators, just like other asters do. And I really like the fine textured foliage as well. It adds this visual softness and contrast to surrounding plants that it's growing underneath. Here we have Black-Eyed Susan, and this variety is called Goldsturm. It gets 24 to 30 inches high by 18 to 24 inches wide, grows in zones 3 through 9 in full sun. Black-Eyed Susan is just a garden staple. Many of you are aware of this plant. I love it because it's got those bright golden petals, dark central cones, and it just blooms really reliably from midsummer into fall. The problem with the native version of the Black-Eyed Susan, in my opinion, just for home gardens, is that it can be a bit aggressive and it has a tendency to take over. So that's why I'm recommending this variety called Goldsturm. It's got really sturdy stems that hold the daisy-like flowers upright without staking. You can create really nice waves of color to energize sunny beds and borders. It's an easy care perennial. It thrives in tough conditions. Heat, humidity, and drought are absolutely no problem for this plant. It looks great planted in drifts or combined with ornamental grasses. This is a plant that I think would also look good with asters or another purple colored flower. The contrast would be really interesting in the fall. And pollinators love the nectar of this, making it a really valuable late season food source if that's something you're interested in. Whether you're designing a native planting or simply want long-lasting color, this variety delivers every time. And like I said, it's a lot less aggressive than other varieties of Black-Eyed Susan. So if you've been concerned about maybe trying this plant because you've heard that, this is a good variety to check out. This is Joe-Pye weed, and the variety is Baby Joe. All sources on the internet indicate that this gets 24 to 30 inches high by 18 to 24 inches wide. In my experience, it gets about 5 feet high and about double that width. And every year it just sort of doubles in width over and over again. So it doesn't spread aggressively. It's not like popping up all over your garden, but you do need some space for this. Totally worth it, in my opinion. One of my absolute favorite plants. So Joe-Pye weed grows in zones 4 through 9 in full sun to partial shade. And Baby Joe is just a compact version of the straight native species Joe-Pye weed. You get all the ecological benefit just in a smaller form that fits a little bit nicer into home gardens. This plant has clusters of fragrant and pink flowers that bloom in mid to late summer. These are absolutely covered by pollinators. I have monarch butterflies, all different kinds of butterflies, bees, wasps. Everything is just totally on this plant, especially this time of year. It's a good size for smaller gardens. I like that it has a little bit of height to it because I think a lot of us as home gardeners were missing that height. It's adaptable to both full sun and light shade, but it does thrive in moist soil, so keep that in mind. And like I said, it does spread a bit, but it's not going to be aggressive in any way, and it's really easy to kind of shape it the way you want in the spring, and I just give big chunks of it to all my friends and family. So if you live nearby, let me know in the comments, and I'll send some your way in the spring. So really long-lasting blooms, really interesting structural form to it. And after the flowers fade, I leave this up all winter because I think it's just a really interesting structural plant for your garden. So if you're not into evergreens, but you do want some winter interest, maybe try plants like this. And if you can't fit Joe-Pye weed into your garden, I totally get that. Some of us don't have the space for something like that. So Sedum Autumn Joy is another option. This gets 18 to 24 inches high by 18 to 24 inches wide, grows in zones 3 through 9 in full sun to part shade. This will also take more dry conditions. So Sedum Autumn Joy starts the show in a late summer. It usually blooms a little bit later than a Joe-Pye weed would. And it gets these rosy pink flower heads that slowly deepen to rich coppery tones as fall approaches. It's got that thick succulent foliage that all sedums have, and it holds up beautifully through heat and drought, making an excellent choice for a low maintenance borders or containers. The upright growth habit keeps it looking really tidy in the garden, and it has sturdy stems that prevent it from flopping. If it's not getting enough sun, it tends to flop a little bit, so make sure it has a really sunny area to enjoy in your garden. Otherwise, you might have to divide it more often and split it in the spring, which isn't a problem for me as well. I split it and put it everywhere. As the blooms mature, like I said, they turn to more of a coppery color, and then they dry on the plant, and they continue to provide visual interest and also food for birds in the winter. So you're getting some ecological benefits from this plant, even though it is not a native plant. It's native to Eurasia. But again, lots of visual interest, food for birds, and pollinators love this plant. So again, beautiful and ecologically valuable, even though it's not native. And this is goldenrod fireworks. It gets 24 to 36 inches high by 18 to 24 inches wide. It grows in zones 4 through 8 in full sun to partial shade. And I really like this variety of goldenrod because it's really well behaved and it has a really interesting shape to it. It's almost a vase shape. So fireworks is a showstopper in late summer gardens. It erupts with hundreds of these distinctive fan-shaped golden flower plumes. And in this variety, they kind of flop over along the edges and they resemble fireworks bursting above the lush green foliage. It maintains this really neat vase-like form. I like to pair this with asters because I like the combination of the purple with the yellow, so that's another option there. I think this particular variety sits really well in the middle of a border because it gets a little bit higher so you can plant something in front of it, but it's not so tall that it deserves to be in the back. This app thrives in average to moister soils, and it really likes full sun. It's low maintenance and it forms clumps that aren't going to run aggressively. That's something that does happen with other varieties of goldenrod, especially the straight native species. So I have this in my own garden. I can vouch for the fact that it does not do that. It stays put and it stays really tidy and it looks really cute too. So beyond its stunning display and color and all of that stuff, it also provides essential nectar to pollinators like bees and butterflies at this really, really crucial and important time of year when a lot of other plants have finished blooming for the summer. It's also a plant that transitions really gracefully into fall and even winter interest. So most of the plants on this list, I will leave them up all winter long. I don't really clean up my garden until spring when it gets a little bit warmer out, and I leave all of these plants for structural interest in my garden. If you're planning a 4-season garden, timing is everything. My free flower bloom tracker makes it super easy to see when each plant starts and stops blooming, so you can keep color and interest going all year long. This is an essential tool for creating a bloom timeline, and I use it myself, and I wanted to share it with you. You can download this free flower bloom tracker on my website, and I'm going to leave a link to that in the description below so you can grab it. The next plant I want to talk about is Turtlehead. This variety is called Hot Lips. Pretty cool name for a plant, if you ask me. It gets 18 to 24 inches high by 12 to 18 inches wide. It grows in zones 4 through 8 in partial shade to full shades. So this is a great option if you have a shady area to fill in. Turtlehead Hot Lips brings vibrant pink tubular blooms in late summer that continue into early fall. It fills shady spots with both color and charm. The flower shape kind of resembles small snapdragons. It adds this textural interest to moist woodland gardens, rain gardens, or shady borders. So this likes a lot of moisture. It's a native plant. It thrives in consistently damp soils, yet it remains easy care with no dividing necessary. It's got showy blooms that are pollinator magnets. It's particularly popular with bees and butterflies during a time when few other shade perennials are flowering. With its tidy habit and long-lasting bracts, Hot Lips provides continuous late-season appeal. This is Japanese anemone, and the variety is called Honorine Jobert. Sorry if I'm butchering that, but it's a little bit of a mouthful. This gets 24 to 48 inches high by the same wide. It grows in zones 4 through 9 in full sun to part shade. This variety of Japanese anemone sends up slender, wiry stems, and they're adorned with these beautiful, pure white, semi-double flowers from late summer well into early fall, often lasting like 5 or 6 weeks, I'd say. These graceful blooms hover above a really unique deep green foliage, providing a really striking contrast in late season borders and woodland gardens. I love when I have a plant with really light colored blooms and then really dark colored stems. It really does stand out in the garden. This is ideal for part shade. It thrives in moist, rich soil and is remarkably low maintenance once it's established. Honorine Jobert is actually an award-winning cultivar. It offers long-lasting garden elegance, attracting bees and butterflies. I just think this is a really timeless, beautiful-looking plant with nice arching stems. And the light color makes an excellent choice for brightening up any shady spots in your garden. Here we have Coneflower White Swan. I love all varieties of coneflower, but I wanted to mention this one in particular because I have had it in my garden, and I found that it comes back pretty reliably year after year, which is not true for a lot of the different varieties of coneflower other than the straight native purpurea, the purple variety. So if you're looking for something a little bit different, White Swan definitely stands the test of time. This gets about 24 to 36 inches high and 18 to 24 inches wide. In my experience, it's a little shorter than the native purple coneflower, and it thrives in zones 3 through 9 in full sun to part shade. White Swan offers really elegant white petals that radiate around a coppery orange cone. It blooms steadily from midsummer into fall, just like other coneflowers, and it adds this really clean and bright contrast to other late season plantings while feeding the bees and butterflies well into autumn. This variety has sturdy, upright stems that I've never had to personally stake, and it's got a tolerance for drought, heat, and poor soils. So this is a really reliable performer in sunny borders and even wildflower meadows. And like I said, it comes back year after year, unlike a lot of other varieties. As the blooms age, the prominent seed heads provide winter interest and also food for birds. And here we have a cardinal flower. The variety here is Queen Victoria. Isn't this one gorgeous? It gets 24 to 36 inches high by 18 to 24 inches wide. It grows in zones 4 through 9 in part sun to part shade. It also tolerates full sun if you have very moist conditions. Cardinal flower Queen Victoria dazzles with these upright spikes of vivid red flowers in late summer. It creates a really brilliant focal point in a moist garden, and its blooms are an absolute magnet for hummingbirds who visit frequently for nectar right into early fall. This plant thrives in consistently damp soil, like along pond edges, rain gardens, or boggy borders. Anywhere where you have standing water, this would be a great solution plant that's also really beautiful. It brings color and ecological value to these moist sites. Queen Victoria maintains a sturdy clumping form without needing staking, and I think it adds a really interesting vertical structure in a time where many other plants are winding down. It's got this lush, glossy foliage that is somewhat dark, and it really enhances the appeal of this plant. It makes it a standout, and I can't wait to get my hands on this variety. I've never personally tried it, so if you have any experience with this plant, I'd love to hear about that in the comments below this video. Please let me know. And next up, we have Russian sage. This variety is called Little Spire. It gets 24 to 36 inches high by 18 to 30 inches wide. It grows in zones 4 through 9 in full sun. And this variety, Little Spire, is a Russian sage that's very compact and it's upright. And it delivers airy spikes of lavender blue flowers on this really beautiful silvery foliage from midsummer through mid-fall. Unlike larger Russian sage varieties, this selection actually holds a really tidy 2 to 3 foot mound in the garden, making it perfect for smaller spaces, home gardens, containers, or even like the front or somewhere in the middle of the border. It thrives in really hot and dry conditions. You need really well-drained soil for this, and it requires very minimal care once it's established. There's no staking or extra watering needed with this plant. It's got really fragrant, beautiful foliage and a long bloom period. It attracts bees, butterflies, hummingbirds. I just love the airy and dramatic texture of this plant, and the color is really unusual for the fall time as well. And last but not least, we have Chrysanthemum. This variety is called Sheffield Pink. It gets 24 to 36 inches high and wide, grows in zones 5 through 9 in full sun to partial sun. And this chrysanthemum, Sheffield pink, bursts into bloom in late summer and continues right through frost, offering masses of charming single daisy-like flowers in this soft apricot pinkish color. It's a really, really unique color. It's a very vigorous antique garden mom that forms a sturdy 2 to 3 foot mound that holds its shape without staking, making it ideal for sunny borders. You can use this in mass plantings or even in container displays. Once it blooms, its aromatic foliage and long-lasting flowers make it a garden standout, while also attracting butterflies and providing cut flower charm. It's heat and drought tolerant and performs well in average soils. And its seed heads also add interest for birds when you leave it standing into winter. This is a perennial variety of mum. There are different garden mums. Some of them are annual. A lot of them that you find at the garden center in the fall are actually annual mums, and they don't come back reliably year after year. So this is a variety that you can put in your garden and it will actually come back year after year. If you found this list helpful, you're going to love all of my other plant list videos. I've got tons of curated picks organized by color, by season, and gardening goals. So there's something for every space and style. I'm going to drop a link to the playlist right here, and I'll see you over in one of those videos.